Hello everyone, in this video we're going to go over doors. There's going to be three types of doors we're going to create. We're going to use one base door, and all doors can inherit from this, or you can use this one and it will do most things you need. There's going to be a fully locked door that will check if the player has a key on them, and then if they do, it will unlock. There'll be a door that is stuck and that cannot be opened, and it will show a text on the screen saying it is stuck. And the third one will just be a normal door that can be opened and closed at any time. So the first thing we're going to do is, in my template, this is my horror tutorial I've been building on. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this doors. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a base actor for all our doors that we can then create child actors of and use them in the world. I'm going to call BP underscore door base. Let's open that. So we're going to add a static mesh, and I'm going to use the one that comes with the starter kit, which is, if we search door here, we have sm underscore door, like this. Now, there is one thing we need to do with this, because by default, this doesn't have collisions. So you can click this browse to the contents here, double click the mesh. It's gone there. You can click collision up top and add a box collision. So here you can see what the collision looks like now. It might be a bit big, but for what we're doing, it's perfectly fine. So this adds the collision because by default you would walk through it. Okay, so now we have this. What we're going to do first is we're going to add if you follow my previous tutorial, I use an interface for all our interactable objects, which is BPI underscore interactable. If you just want to see what it looks like, it has highlight object, unhighlight, and do interact. The only one you would need to get this tutorial working is do interact. Okay, so now we have our door like this. I'm going to create a few variables, and we're also going to create in the door folder an enum. So we go to blueprint enumeration and call this e underscore door types, and this is going to hold the different types of doors we have. So we're going to have locked, we're going to have stuck, we're going to have unlocked. So we got three types of doors. We got locked, stuck, unlocked. And the reason I do it here is because what we can do then is in the door base, we can add a new variable, and it can be e underscore door types. And we can call this type of door. And now we can basically assign what type of door this is. And we can do different types of logic on the door depending on what it is here. So for example, say we do the interact here like this. We can do a switch. We can pull in types of door like this, and we can do a switch on door types. So when this event is called, we can basically check what type of door it is, and then we can do the logic. It's a good way to have like one actor that can do multiple things. And if we then make this instance editable by clicking the eyeball, when we drag this into the world like this, you can actually then click on it, and on the right here, you can assign what type of door it is. So it just makes it a lot easier just to quickly add a door into the world, put it in its place, and assign what it's going to do. So the next thing we're going to add a variable is we're going to add a Boolean, and we're going to call it is locked. And then The next one is going to be a text box. And this is going to be the text when you interact with the door. Like some doors may have like require a key. Some doors may be stuck, something like that. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say this is the interact text. And this is also going to be instance editable. So the next variable we're going to add is there's different ways of holding like what key the door would require if it does require a key. If it depends how you store your inventory, if you do it through actors or whatever. For this, I'm just going to use a text, and I'm just going to call it door key ID like this. So you can either do it through like an integer or a float, and it can be a number. For me, I'm just going to use a text, a door ID key text, just to show this example. Once I build the inventory system, then I'll look at how to do it with like a physical, in a sense. It will check the inventory. Do you have this item? Yes. Okay. So for now, we'll just use this. So if we go back to this, we can now see we have the type of door, the interact text, and the door ID key, the door key ID. So let's get started. Let's do the locked door first. So what we can do is we're going to actually create functions for all of these. So we're going to call it door locked. We're going to call it stuck door. And then the last one is unlocked door. Unlocked door. On event graph, the first thing we're going to do is when we begin play, is we're going to get the world rotation of the static mesh. Now to make this easier, we can call this door mesh. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this starting door rotation. And the reason I do this is just so we can easily set up a system for opening the door using a timeline. And then we always know, no matter which way you place the door in the world, then we can rotate it the correct way. So let's do the locked door first. First, we will go into the lock, and we'll do a check for is the door locked. Is the door locked? If the door is locked, we want to check if the player has the key. And to do this, we're actually going to modify the interactable this do interact. I'm going to add an input, and it's going to be our player character. So for me, it's BP underscore first. Oh, I have this one. So it'll be an object reference. And we can just call this player reference. It's just to make sure that we know the player. So if you see here, player ref, and then what we do, and we can do, we can just get a reference to the player like this and pop that in. So on the door locked, we're going to get the player reference. And then we need to do a something on this player to check if they have the key. So to do that, we can use a interface to communicate with them, which is the easiest way. So I already have one from my previous, but if you don't, you can just create one and add it. I'm going to add a new function, and it's going to be called check inventory for key. So the output is going to be a Boolean, and it's going to be as correct key. The input is going to be a text, and it's going to be called text to key to check. So if we then come back to this interact the door base, the player ref we can pull off. We can search for key, check inventory for key. Now we can come up and say, is the door locked? Yes. So we want to check the key to check, which we can use the door key ID. We can plug that in. On that, we can do a branch, and we can say, has correct key? Yes. And then we can do set the door to be unlocked, and then it continues on. So because we've done this now, we need to implement this on the player. So on the player, in the interfaces, we have check inventory for key. And just as a test for now, we'll actually add a text variable. We'll call it keys. Or we'll do it correctly. We can do keys and we can make it a array. So now we have this array. We can pull in and search for contains item. And we can hook the key to check in, and we can just plug it in here. And what this will do is it'll check the array. If we have the key, then it will return true. If we don't have it, then it will return false. So if we go back now to the door base, this should work. If it's false, let's just do an example and say print. If the door, no, it will do it here. If we don't have the key, we'll do a print string and just say don't have key, just so we can test this out to make sure it's working. So in the event graph, we can pull in door locked and stick it on locked. And in the world, if we assign the door to be locked and requires door key hello. Now if we try and we interact, it isn't doing it. Why not? Let's see. Let's check to see if it's responding. It is. It's running in here. Oh, of course. By default, the variable is set to empty. So if I do that, and then if we try now, don't have key. There we go. But it is running through that. So now let's do a test now to see if it works. If we add the hello key to this, and then we do a print string and say door is now unlocked, like this. So it's hitting that and it's saying no. Why? Oh, I see the problem. I haven't actually put the player ref in here. So in your first person character, when you change something like this, you can do a self here, and then that will assign the player like this. So now door is now unlocked. There we go. So now we have a door that can be unlocked with a key. A very simple way of doing it. If we do a test and we drag this out like this, and we say this door here is locked and it requires hello 2. So we have the one key, the hello. So that door will unlock and this door will do nothing, which is perfect. So what we want is we're going to create a UI widget that's going to show up and tell the player that the door is locked. And to do this, I'm going to, in the doors, I'm going to create a user interface, a widget, and I'm going to call this WBP_door. If we go into here, what we're going to do is we're going to use a canvas just so I can see and get it lined up nice. And in here, all we need a text box. And then we're going to put that, and we're going to anchor it to the bottom middle. So we hold Control and Shift and click. And then what we can do is we can move the X and Y up or down depending where we want it. So I'm going to do -250. It's about there. I'm going to size to content, and I want to make sure that the text, the justification is in the middle. I'm going to name this here. I'm going to call it door text. I'm going to make it a variable just to be sure. I'm going to change the font to Roboto Tiny. There we go. So now what we can do is we can assign text to this. So text block, we can click the bind here and create a binding. And we're going to right click on the return value and promote to a variable. And we're going to call this door text to display. Compile, and then make sure you click on it and do instance editable and expose on spawn. And then that is basically all we need to do now to get simple text on. Actually, there's another thing we can do is if you want the text to just fade away once it's been on screen a little bit, on the event construct, you can do a delay and then say 2 seconds later, you can remove from parent just so we can get rid of it like this. Right. And then, so if the door is locked, true, what we could do is then we can say here after we've unlocked the door, or here on false, we can create a macro and we can call this show door text. And macros are a lot like functions. It's just so you can have like you can have multiple inputs into them and multiple outputs. And they can, like it says there, they can't contain timeline or event node or anything like that, but they can hold delay nodes, which is good. So the input, we're going to add an execute, which is called exec, like this. And I don't think we need the return. No, we don't. We don't need an output. So once we execute this, we need another node actually. It's going to be text, which is going to be the text to display. We're going to create a widget from class, and we're going to call this WPB underscore door. So as you can see here, now we can assign text to that variable in the widget. We can just hook this up. We can set the door widget as a variable, so we have knowledge of it existing. And then we can add to viewport like this. So what we can do here is, if we go back to the event graph for the door locked, we can say here, we can drag in, and we can put in, you require the hello key. And then for this one, you can say, you unlock the door. Now if we try this and we say this one, so if we click, you unlock the door, and then it will go away. This one, you require the hello key. So that's how we can do it like that, which is just a very simple thing. Now there is one issue that is, if you click lots, well, not on that one, but this one, you actually are doing multiple of the same widgets showing it. Stop that happening. We can pull the door widget in and convert to a validated get and hook that in. And if we have if we've already interacted with the door and we've seen the text, we can do a branch and we can say that door widget is visible. If it is visible, we don't want to do anything. If it's not, show the text. But if the door hasn't been interacted with yet and we haven't seen the text, we can say is not valid. So if we try this now, and we click, we're only going to show the text once. The next part is to actually get the door to open. And to do that, in the event graph, we need to create a timeline. The timeline can be called door open. And in here, we can set the length of how long it takes the door to open. So I'm going to say 2 seconds. The track, we can add a float track. We can call this door alpha. Right click and add a keyframe and make sure it's 0 and 0. The next keyframe needs to be on the final length, which is 2, and the value needs to be 1. Value needs to be 1. Oh, you have to press enter. There we go, enter. We want it a straight line. We don't want it to curve over time. We want just a straight linear movement. So back in the door locked, the event graph, sorry. On event, we want to grab the door mesh and set world rotation and hook that up into update. So now we have this. What we could do is we can pull from new rotation and lerp rotator. And from the A value, we're going to use the, where is it gone? The starting door rotation. The alpha will go into the alpha of the timeline. The B, we're actually going to do a select rotator. And we're just going to break it off here because we're going to do something with it. And what we're going to do is we can assign 2 values here, and then we can check, depending on this for Boolean, which one of these it will use. We can promote this to a variable, and we can call it door open outwards. And the A value will be, the Z will be 90, and the other Z on B will be minus 90. Or however, this is how much you want your door to open. For me, it's going to open 90 degrees. Now we have this. What we can do is we can right click the return value and split. We can get the starting door rotation again, and we can split this. We take the Z from here and we plus, and then we can hook that into so we're connecting both of these. Then from the B here, we can either split this like this, or we can make rotator, this bottom one. Oh, not that one. Make rotator here. And we can put the Z-axis in like this. And what this does, it allows us to have a way of choosing which way the door will open. Make sure you click the little eye here to make it instance editable. So now if we try this in the world, so we have a door here, let's make it line up like this. So the first time we interact with the door, we're going to unlock the door, and then we click again. It's not done anything, because what I forgot to do in the door base is actually use this. So this is the logic for the door. So what we can do now is if the door is locked, we can run the event. So what we want to do is we want to branch, and we need a new Boolean, and we're going to call this is door open. And this is to check if the door has been swung open or if it's in its default position. Pull that out and we hook into the condition here. Now, if the door is not open, we're going to open it. So we're going to grab the variable here, the door open, which is the timeline, and we're going to do play. And after we've played the animation or the door opening, we're going to set is door open to be true. We can hook that into false. Now, the next part is the door open again. We pull out and we reverse. So we're going back through the timeline. And then we're going to set the door to be closed, which is this, because the door's no longer open. And we put that in like that. So now if we try, so the first click we open the door, we unlock it. And the next one, we've opened the door outwards. And if we click, we closed it. And because we've done it like this, we can spam the door just in case. Obviously, you can put a check to not do that. But as you see, the door is opening outwards. If I then change this to open inwards, like this, and then we try, the door will open towards us. And because the way we've set it up, no matter which angle this door is at, so if it's like this on its side, and we open the door, it will always open 90 degrees away. So the next thing is to do the stuck door. So let's, I'm already in it. What we want to do here is all we need to do is check we get the door widget, and we're going to convert to a validator get. If the door widget is not valid, then we can grab our show door text and we can just put it in like this, and the text display will be the interact text like that. If the door is valid, then we need to do a branch, and we can do door widget is visible. If it isn't visible, we can show the door text again. So we can just go not visible. We hook that in there. And that should be the stuck door. That should be all we need for that. So stuck door, interact text. This door seems to be stuck. So now if I click this. Make sure when you do this, you actually then use the function here. So stuck door goes there. The door is stuck. So if we do this, and we do, the door seems to be stuck. The unlock door, which is just the door is unlocked and doesn't need to do anything. We can go into the unlock door here, and all we do here is we say, we do a branch, and we say, is the door open? If the door is open, we can get the door open timeline and do reverse and set then the door to be shut. And if it isn't open, we can play and set the door to be open. So if we try this now, let's see. So now this door will be unlocked. And if we click, nothing happens because once again, I've not connected these up. Like, where is it? It's here, unlocked door, like that. Now if I run it, let's see. So now this door just works. Doesn't require a key or anything. This one is the unlock door, requires a key. If you then want the door to lock after you've closed it or anything like that, what you would do is you could do a thing here that once the door has been unlocked, or once the door is closed like this, you can then set the type of door here, and you can say that now we are stuck. So let's do that. So this door here opens, closes, the door is now stuck. So that's how you can do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You've got a solid little base of doors you can use. I will be expanding once we do the inventory stuff on how you can change the way the keys are. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to support me, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee, and I'm thinking of setting up a Patreon, which will have some project files you can download if you want to skip the boring parts. So I hope you will come by for the next video.